with you today. And I have a couple of announcements from my end before we get into a couple of Semantic Kernel updates. And then really happy to have Danny from Prezi joining us as well to go through some of the updates from Prezi. So diving right in, this is our monthly APAC office hours that we have every month on the second Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And then we do have weekly office hours for individuals in US and EMEA. So if you have colleagues who are looking to join in and want to grab feedback in different time zones, that's also an option. In between the office hours, if you do have any questions, please use GitHub discussions. We have that for triaging and going through daily. We have Discord for any of those customer to customer interactions and for you to learn from each other. But if you want to be able to engage with the Semantic Kernel team in between office hours, check out GitHub discussions to dive into that. Have a couple of releases that have occurred, and one that I want to highlight in particular is around .NET. We're at 1.28.0, and so some of the key updates that I want to highlight is that it has added support for OpenAI image detail within that level property, and then also across the .NET sharing for cross runtime integration with the processes as well. So there's lots of other updates that are in some of these new releases, but if you haven't had a chance to check them out, I'd recommend that for .NET. And then on the Python side, we've been doing a lot within vector store and vector search. And so there are some updates in terms of the introduction to vector and text search, and then also adding vector search to memory as well. And so if you haven't had a chance to check out this latest Python release, would recommend you take a minute to do that. And I'm going to put some links in chat. One thing that I want to highlight, especially to this audience since we met last month, is we've been going through and doing a number of documentation updates, especially around our vector store and memory aspects as well. And so you'll see a lot of document updates, a lot of code samples if you go through. And so since we met last, would recommend that you check out that section and then some of our AI connectors and some of the new work that we've been doing there as well. I dropped the link in chat for you to be able to go through and see for documentation. And then moving on to our backlog by bucket, there's a lot of items that we've been getting through for All Up Ignite, but this is a good way to see if any of the future work that you may be asking about for roadmap is on there and where we're at in terms of prioritization. And then in terms of blogs, there's been a number of items that have released out, but I want to highlight a couple in particular. One around being able to manage the chat history using LLMs has now been released. And so I know that we've had a number of questions in community and in our office hours around chat history. And so this really lays out in a couple of scenarios how to be able to set that chat history, how to be able to go up and get through some of those new pieces as well. And then we also have an announcement around the semantic kernel functions, and as that has been advancing as well. And so I'll link in chat to a couple of those items. And then finally, I want to go ahead and turn it over to Tao. I do want to, before then, just highlight that we do have Dapper runtime in Python for some of our new updates. And so I'm going to put a link to our PR for review and some of our development work. And so we'd love feedback and updates on that. There is a full demo that Evan went through in our earlier office hours. It'll be up on a recording as well. But I'm going to turn over to Tao to go through some of the updates to Python. Tao, over to you. And Tao, I think you're on mute.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Can you all hear me now?
Yep, we can.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sophia. And good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. We are excited to announce that we are going to we have added support to of audio to the Python Semantic Kernel SDK. With audio features, you can now build apps that are more interactive and accessible to your users. And we added two new interfaces. One is the audio to text, the other one is text to audio. And then with these two new interfaces, we also added the OpenAI and Azure OpenAI connector that allow you to connect to the OpenAI endpoints or your Azure OpenAI deployments. And with that, we also have samples to guide you through how to add the connectors to your existing chat experience. Let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yep, I can. Can others as well? I see some thumbs up in window. Perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, so we have 3 new samples, and they live under Semantic Kernel Python samples concept audio. And the first one, well, first of all of these samples are based on a very simple chatbot that we have for all our samples. And so the only difference with this one is instead of taking user input from the keyboard, this one is going to take user input from your audio input device. So the only thing that's changed is now we have an audio to text service. And then in here, instead of taking user inputs from the keyboard, we're going to take user input from the audio and then transcribe that audio into text, and then use that transcription of the audio to get a response from the text chat completion service. So the nice thing about this set of samples is we also provide 2 helper classes to allow you to work with audio more easily. As you can see here, the code to work with audio on your computer is actually much longer than the code you need to invoke AI to work with audio. Anyways, so the second sample, it's basically the same, but it instead of transcribing your audio into text, it converts the response from the chat completion service into audio. So instead of using audio to text service, we're using the text to audio service. And then as usual, we take user input from the keyboard, and then we get a response, and then we play the audio back to the user, right? And then the last one is just a combination of the previous 2. So we have we're using text to audio and audio to text, and then we're taking user input from your audio device, and then we're playing back the response from the model from your audio device as well. So yeah, so these are 3 samples, and then step by step you can convert your chat experience into using audio inputs and outputs. And then one thing to note is I know some of you may have questions about the OpenAI real-time API. So what we have here is not that. And as you can see, we are so let me just go through what the OpenAI API real-time API is. It's a audio in and audio out endpoint. So the model takes audio and outputs audio. Whereas in this case, in our case, we need to first transcribe the audio into text and then pass that text into the model, and then the model responds with text, and then we are converting the text to audio. So, but the thing is, with audio, we added this new audio content into our supported list of contents. So we have text content, we have image contents. Now we have audio content. We're working actively to add support to the real-time API. Now that we have audio contents, I believe it will be fairly easy to add that support. So I encourage you guys to stay tuned and yeah, check out the samples and we welcome any feedback. That's all I have, Sophia.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Ted. Really appreciate you going through this. Are there any questions folks have? Would love to hear if you want to come off of mute, if you have any questions or thoughts around it. Perfect. If there aren't any, you can always add them when we get to open Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Danny Wang from Prezi. He's been working with Semantic Kernel and has some updates for us, and really appreciate you sharing out kind of customer stories. So Danny, over to you.
Great, thanks, Sophia. Yeah, so today I'd just like to do a quick demo about on a product that we have been developing and we have just recently launched pilot for. So let me just share my screen and I'll go through it. All right, cool. Can you see my screen?
I can. Can others see it as well? Perfect.
All right, great. Thank you. At Prezi, so we are an online SaaS platform, basically developing solutions for e-commerce stores. And about 6 or 7 months ago, we started looking into this AI realm and decided to take advantage of mainly OpenAI and try to see like what we can develop out of it. So 6 months later or 7 months later, we have successfully launched our very first AI product. And which you can see here sitting at the lower left corner or lower right corner, actually. This is what we've been developing for the last 6 months. And it is basically it's an online shopping assistant, and on the page it's context aware. So at the moment we are on the home page. So basically it's just sitting here doing nothing. But if you go to a clothing page, let's say if you go to here, it will actually show the product you're looking at, and that means it's context aware and it can answer questions specific to that product. And also, if you go to say a collection page, let's say you're looking at dresses, and on here, if you open it, it actually knows that you're looking at dresses. Hey, explore our stunning collection of dresses. I can help you find the dresses that you want. And if you go to click on any of the dresses, and then it would say, hey, I know you're looking at this page. So hey, the message will now say that Nada hot pink layer dress, which is the page you're on, is a stunning choice. So it's less context aware about what page you're looking at. And then you can start interacting it like as a normal AI. So you can ask it, hey, what fabric is this? What fabric is this? And behind the scenes, it will go to, so we pull down all the product information for this store. It's basically Blue Bungalow. This is our first part customer. And we pull down all the information, we analyze their products, and then we answer questions based on that. So it will say that, hey, it's based on 60% polyester and 40% cotton. And then you can ask things like, hey, can I machine wash it? I'm not a fashion expert, but I don't know whether you're supposed to be machine washing this, but let's see what the AI says. Right, so it's recommended to be cool, gentle, hand washed for best care. Right, and then you can ask it about sizing as well. You can say, hey, I'm 170 centimeters tall. What size do you recommend? And we do scrape the web page, so we do have their size chart, and hopefully it can answer that as well. It will just say that, oh, it's better to provide your bus weight and heat measurement. Okay. Let's just ask it, hey, if what's the measurement for size 12? See what it says. Okay, size 12 is of this measurement, and so I can say that, hey, I'm a hip, I don't know, like say 100 centimeters, and oh, that's probably too small. 100 and 128 centimeters. What size best fits me? And let's see what it says. Right, so it says like, hey, size 10 is probably best fit. But size 12 also works. All right, cool. So I can add this directly to cart from here. So I can say that, hey, can you add size 12 to cart? And it will. So this is a Shopify store. So it will call out to Shopify and add this product size 12 to cart. And you can check out. If you click checkout, it will just go to checkout. You can see here this product size 12 is now sitting in cart, ready to be purchased. Or you can come back and say, hey, I want to continue shopping. And if you continue shopping, then what it can then recommend is that, hey, it's some bundle products, basically the product that goes well with this dress. So here it says, hey, what about some stylish sandals? And you can continue the conversation. You can say, yeah, show me some matching sandals, please. All right, and then this will go to do a product search. It will pass in all the attributes for this dress, like the color, the fabric, the cutting, and then it will try to find some matching sandals based on that. So you can see the color. There's some matching color here, and yeah, it will just do its best to find some matching sandals. And you can continue this conversation from here, or you can click on it, and then it will say that, hey, then we start answering questions based on this sandal. So basically, you can do everything I just did. Ask about size, ask about whether it fits or not, and then you can continue the conversation there. What it can also do is you can also ask it for like recommending products based on occasions. Like if you say, I can go back to Blue Bungalow's homepage, and if you click here, you can see it remembers all the chat history. But let's restart it. All right, and let's just say that, hey, I want to find wedding dress for summer, for example. And it will go off and it will try to analyze all the products and find what it thinks is suitable for a wedding dress for summer. So you can see it comes back with these kind of recommendations, and then you can click on it, and it's basically you can either say, hey, I want to you can also actually you don't have to click on it. You can say, let me just restart it. You can actually say hey, lightweight jackets for spring. You can actually say, can you tell me more about the first one? And understand what the first one is. It recommended 10 products. And then it would say that, hey, the first one is this Augustine navy. So it should say that, hey, the Augustine navy zip jacket, and you can just, if you understand the context about like the product, it's recommending. so this is pretty much like a very early pilot. Like like what I'm showing here is basically the first pilot that we have recently launched. And yeah, so hopefully we'll keep on developing this, and it will become a lot better in the next few weeks or months. That's everything
Danny,
from my side.
thank you so much for sharing out. This is amazing. I see a number of questions that folks have. I definitely want to be following up with you and Vic for a follow-up case study of what you've done in the past. But let's start with Evan. Evan has his hand up. Evan, do you want to go?
Yeah, thanks. So Danny, I know it's still early on. Have you seen any like have you seen any uptick of shoppers closing out deals like better cart management or better pull through on the website?
Yeah, I think we saw some purchases from the back of it. But it's very early days, and it's not at the moment. It's sort of a soft launch at the moment, and it's only been, I think, a couple of days sitting on the website. So what you see here is basically it's like brand spanking new. It's only been live for a couple of days, so we still have to observe the trend.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing more from you about how it's going. There's a couple of questions in chat. Tout a question of does it stream the responses? I saw Vic, you had started to add some context too, but just for the recording, wanted to fully capture the question and response as well.
Yeah. So all the responses they are streaming. We do have some fit responses for certain scenarios, but even for those like fixed responses, we still try to mimic the streaming, the feel of it's streaming, but like 90% of the responses are all streaming.
Got it. Thank you. I just because the screen sharing was a little bit laggy, so I couldn't tell if it's streaming or it's like coming back as
Right.
the one chunk. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. No worries at all. Thank you.
Great, thanks for the question, Tao. Daniel, do you want to come off of maybe you have a really good scenario? I'm happy to read it out. If not, would love to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks, Sophia. Hey, awesome job, Danny. You guys are nailing it. Hey, my question is for that model sizing conversion was really cool. Do you guys call out to a semantic function, or how do you do the sizing conversion? That seems pretty cool. How do you do it?
Yeah, the sizing we get it from the page. So if you go to the page, let me share my screen again, so you can actually see it. Yeah, this thing. Yeah, if I click on any products, unfortunately, Shopify doesn't have sizing in their product data, but they do have sizing stored somewhere, and it's different for different shops. And so, but most sizing we just scrape from the page. So here you can, size guide. Oh, it's actually interesting. This one doesn't have sizing. Let me go to this one. Like here you have a size guide. So basically we scrape the page, we extract size guide from here, and we basically use this as a reference for AI to answer questions. Did that
really
answer
cool.
your question? Yep.
Yeah, it did. Awesome. Thanks, Danny. I didn't see. Yeah, because thanks, mate.
Yeah, it's amazing, Danny, that's pulling all that in. There's one other question I'm seeing in chat from Davis. If the AI is either taking too long to respond or is down, what would be the experience that customers would get in that instance?
Yeah, we're still kind of fine-tuning the whole experience because, as I mentioned, this is the very first soft launch, and we are going through some corner cases, and this is definitely one of them that we need to figure out.
Absolutely, especially with it being new. Davis, any other follow-ups that you have too?
Yeah, I can see some question about .NET Python. Yeah, we're using a .NET version of Semantic Kernel.
Did you just quickly, Danny? Did you guys learn? What did you guys learn when you were developing? And what was your experience? What worked really well for you guys? What'd you like?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's pretty much it's a lot of trial and error as we went. So over the last 6 months, I think pretty much half of that is on trial and error to see what actually worked, because the AI is actually quite temperamental. It's like it's like it's not deterministic, and sometimes if you ask the same question just slightly differently, and it will come up with vastly different answers, and we really have to nail the prompt for that. Like a lot of prompting, a lot of just time just went into the prompt engineering just to make sure that AI actually behaves the way that we expect it. Yeah, there also like quite a bit of work went into the analysis of the products, because we need to really understand the product to be able to answer some, you have to just basically just appear to be intelligent that enough to actually understand the product so that it can answer questions. And we just like spent a lot of time just analyzing all the attributes, and try to figure out like what's the best way to actually segment the product, and also to answer questions based on that.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan. I see, Evan, do you want to go next? I see your hand up.
Yeah, Danny, on that point, I know you talked about kind of screen scraping. I would imagine the products don't change too often. Like, could you just vectorize all the data for each product rather than screen scraping and
Yeah, it's
grabbing it on the
actually
fly?
Yeah, it's actually kind of, you'd be amazed how often the products they actually change. Like some of our customers, they actually update all their products every like almost like a few times a week. So we do vectorize them though. Like we do vectorize them, but like just vectorizing is not enough to be able to answer, like especially when you're recommending products, right? It's like it's not just like recommending based on what the fabric is or what the color is. I think there are actually a lot of like just customer behavior going into it, and that's where we spend quite a bit of time just trying to understand that.
That makes sense. Do you have like a pipeline? So when they add a new product, do you just automatically do the vectorization and then do the scraping on?
Yeah,
Like
so
said?
Shopify has had a webhook, and they were actually pushed to our API. So we have a bunch of REST APIs just listening to Shopify events, and after receiving those events, and we will pull the product and then analyze it.
That's super cool. Thanks.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. And then, Davis, is there anything else that you want to share around the kind of multiple failback for using different AI models, or when you're having lagging, of anything you want to share on that point too? I saw you had a good comment in chat.
I thank you. Yeah, I think it is a great point about the high availability. So we give for granted that AI is there. The moment you launch a campaign or your website becomes very popular, you might have a spike of users coming in and trying to enjoying the new experience, and suddenly everything goes down or gets worse. So in semantic kernel, you can define what we call services or AI services. You can define more of them. And also, when you define a function, like you giving a prompt, you can define multiple endpoints for that prompt. Or alternatively, you can have the same function with different prompts, like one fine-tuned for GPT-4 or one fine-tuned for Llama, and etc. So the idea is that you might want to give a timeout of the AI call, and as soon as that happens, kick off another AI request to the fallback to another service. So let's say you could call GPT-4o, and on endpoint one, you might have GPT-4o on an endpoint two, You might also want to do GPT-4o on OpenAI, or even have a Llama model on Azure ML. And you could call all of them in sequence, or if you can afford the cost, even in parallel, so that the first one that's going to reply, you give the user the answer and you cancel the other ones. Of course, that will increase the cost because you're kicking off more requests. But basically, the idea is that in SK, you can have multiple AI services and you can play with that concept in multiple ways, concurrent, fallback, and all of that. The one important detail is, though, if you switch from one service to another, you might have to fine tune the prompt for the specific model. You might have a prompt that works pretty well with 4.0, but it doesn't work as well with another model. So you might need to put in place different prompts.
Yeah, that's great to know. It's like one of our we're actually starting to think about how we're going to scale this. And one of the ideas, like I don't know whether it was to work probably but it probably confirmed it, is like we're thinking to have different like kernels internally, and each kernel is specified to a model, and then we can just we can just call different kernels sequentially. Like one kernel could be 4.0, one kernel could be like OpenAI 4.0, one could be like Azure OpenAI 4.0. Like we just call them like sequentially. One fails, we go to the other, that go to the other, and hopefully that will provide some sort of scaling for us.
Yeah, that works. It might be possible to do the same with a single kernel. I don't have the code with me, but I think we might be able to provide a similar feature or a similar behavior without the need to maintain multiple kernels. So this is going to become very common problem for everyone as soon as we put everything on top of AI. The other thing, we will soon, as a Microsoft, publish something that we call routing, like solutions for routing AI requests. You might have, if you're using, let's say you have a single deployment on Azure AI, OpenAI, you might want to give more priority to some requests and allow others to run more slowly because they are backhand running in the background. So we will eventually publish some best practices about how to handle that. Right now, you could have two endpoints, like one of them with more quota and the other with less quota. But I think eventually you might say, I have just an endpoint and I want the endpoint to be smarter so that it gives priority to user requests and less priority to my embedding because I'm importing a new catalog. So I think that you look out for routing and routing into AI models. I think eventually we'll have some blog posts out to talk about that. Hopefully to make this simpler, so that you don't have to write too much code.
Yep, that would be great. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. And then Daniel, did you have any other follow-up questions from, I saw some good ones in chat. Anything else that you wanted to follow up with?
Yeah, I was interested in how you obviously scraping the website, and it sounds like Vic's already confirmed that you scrape it as JSON. So you have one prompt that says convert this into JSON using some structure, and then you pass that through to the LLM. So you're sort of doing a prompt chain. Is that how you're doing it, or do you use raw? You just passing the raw text, extract it all from between the HTML tags and.
Yeah, that's something like actually another member of the team. I'm not that close to that area, but my understanding is that we basically use a third-party service to scrape the website, which returns the website in a markdown format, and then we store everything as a markdown. We do like some pre-processing to extract the information, like some of the critical parts of the information that we need. But in terms of the actual structure, what we scrape it back with, it's all in markdown, as I understand it.
Gotcha. Thanks, Danny.
All right.
Great, thanks so much for the question, Daniel. Vic, I saw your hand up too, if you want to come off of mute.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's not really a question, but I just want to say that Danny and I work really closely on this, and I mean we both can't appreciate enough all the support since the beginning of I guess, building the product. It was all experimental, as what Danny kind of mentioned. And yeah, there's lots of improvements that we need to do, particularly around scaling and making sure that it can support load. We talked a little bit about, reserving and doing provision, throughput, and so on. That's in motion. But yeah, any inputs and everything else, feel free to send us email or I guess chat directly, and then we're happy to discuss and also receive all inputs, I guess. Danny?
Yeah, definitely. So any questions, feel free to reach out. And I do want to extend my appreciation to Sophia and the Semantic Kernel team, and Vic and Matt as well, for your support in making this whole development as smoothly as possible.
Oh, that's great to hear, Dan. We really appreciate all of your support and looking forward to, as this progresses, to be able to get a case study out and be able to share as well. I know that this is a scenario that folks would love to be able to see, and so I'll definitely chat with you and Vic about that. I see, Arafat, you have a question. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to put it in chat, I can read it out, or if you want to come off of mute, whatever is easiest for you.
Yeah. No, I can come out of mute. I have got a question on the latest stuff which is coming up. As you know, that within this market, we have seen the word agents coming up quite a lot. And as a result of that, it catches the interest of the decision makers, or you can say people in the business. And then the team usually gets involved in these discussions. So my team is also we are working heavily within internally for our clients as well, and internally for our projects as well around semantic kernel. But we wanted to explore this, and as I started diving myself into it, I figured out that agent framework, and then we have got the process framework coming up as well. Just wanted to ask the SK team members that, is it a progression? Is agent framework a progression of is process framework a progression of agent framework? And do we really need, or do we still focus on agent framework when we are working on the agents, and we don't right now, or on the need basis, we only look at the process framework? Because I'm just curious to know that, will agent framework go away in any time sooner? And if it is, then I would not involve my team or my business or overall EY teams that to focus on this. So just wanted to get the direction on this, please.
Yeah, really great question. I'm pulling up a slide that shows that we presented out around process framework, and I'll also drop the recording to it, but to really see that you can be able to use agent framework independently or process framework, or be able to bring the agent framework within, but there's no plans for either of them to be deprecated. But let me grab up that slide. While I do that, Evan or Sean, are there items you want to add as well while I pull up the process framework slide that shows kind of that overview?
Yeah, I can pop in here. Hopefully you can hear me all right. I think agents and processes will live together. And yeah, so if you're bringing up the slide, you think I am. I think you are, sorry. It kind of shows some of the composition we have within within semantic kernel. And we really see processes as being this overarching piece that is taking business processes and being able to run them in a deterministic, concrete, and distributed way. And some of those steps within the processes, might be agents, they might be just regular code, or they might be humans in the loop as well. So we see kind of processes being composed of agents and multi-agent steps, just code or people. Agents will obviously continue to grow, and we're going to continue to evolve that. And I think we're on track to get that to I think a little further down here, Sophia. There's a similar one. Yeah, pretty far.
Here we go. This is what I was looking for. That when the question came up, I was thinking of.
So you can certainly think of processes being steps within processes being composed of agents that may be executing in a multi-agent scenario or in a single agent scenario. And then, of course, those agents are built on top of semantic kernel itself with model services and prompts. And then you may have steps in the process that may be talking directly to semantic kernel. Creating an agent may be overkill, or may just be simple code, or maybe a manual process that's waiting for a human to push the process along. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just writing down the comment that I definitely have missed this discussion, but this all makes sense to me. Thanks.
Great.
Perfect. I'll also put in chat the recording we had at the weekly office hours that goes through this entire process framework deck as well. So I'll definitely add that in for folks to look at as well. But thank you so much for the question. Any other questions folks have as well?
Not a question, but I think someone who's been reading docs ever since SK came out. So I just wanted to appreciate the effort which has recently been put in on the documentation. It has improved so much, and it has been updated so well that we don't have to go and look out for the queries within the repo and find out what is going on. So this is just a shout out to the team who has been working very hard to make it happen, and I hope that it will remain same in the future as well.
That's amazing. Really appreciate that call out and just all of your feedback as we were going through the process and rewriting as well. Really appreciate feedback. And then as we keep on progressing through Post Ignite, we'll have a lot of updates to documentation coming out as well. But if there are ever any areas, I know you'd mentioned with junior devs to kind of double click into, or areas, do continue to keep that feedback coming. We'd love to be able to adhere to all different types of developers along that AI journey as well. And so thanks for you as well for sharing all that feedback.
Yeah, one other thing, since we're so close to Ignite, I might as well tell everyone that's on the call something special. So for those junior devs, we are going to be putting out, and you've seen a little bit of this in the doc sites, what we call kind of our metro map. So it's kind of a step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through for your AI journey. So those will be coming to the Learn site too. So you can download those and print them out at work and put them next to your desk. And that way, for those devs just getting started in Python or .NET or Java, you'll be able to download those PDFs, print them out, and have them side by side with you to get going fast.
I can show you, Evan, a preview of what they're going to look like here.
There we go.
Fun little preview for folks.
We have a live demo, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions folks may have?
Got a quick question, Sophia.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yes, just checking in. I know that .NET 9 has been released. I've been kept an eye on it. Whether we have support for that formally for our .NET version.
Yeah, it's a really great question. So there are some updates that will be coming out at Ignite around kind of .NET 9, some of the updates there as well. But that will be something in the long term that we'll look to support. But Sean, do you want to dive in further to how we see it progressing with .NET?
Sorry, I just stepped out for a second. What was the question?
Yeah, just checking in around now that .NET 9 has been released, whether we have a plan to provide support for that as well.
In what way? In terms of the extensions that we've added to .NET 9?
Yes, all the yeah.
So we have extensions. Well, extensions were added into .NET 9 to support vector store and chat model. Those extensions, Evan's dropping the links right here with more details for them. Those extensions were are from the semantic kernel, and we're kind of building on top of them in the semantic kernel. So there are places where we're going through and we're taking dependency on those abstractions within the semantic kernel. And so you'll see that going forward.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Daniel, I see yours in chat if you want to come off of mute.
Yeah, I just saw the announcement that you guys had adopted the Microsoft extensions vector data. I went to go and use it the other day and noticed it was only .NET 9. Is there a .NET 8 version planned, or is this just part of a .NET 9?
No, it's only part of .NET 9. Actually, both of those came from Semantic Kernel. So we took our these layers and gave it to .NET 9, which is pretty awesome. But no, it'll be .NET 9 and plus as it moves forward. No plan right now to go backwards.
I can hope. All right. No, it looks like I have to upgrade to 9 then.
Perfect. I'm just looking through chat. I'm not seeing any other questions. Any other items folks want to dive into? If not, we can go ahead and end our APAC monthly office hours. I really want to give a shout out to everyone who attended, everyone from the Semantic Kernel team for going through features and questions. And Danny, really appreciate you joining and sharing all the work that Preezy's been doing. It's great to be able to see something cutting edge of how it's being implemented, what you're finding valuable as well. Would love to chat with you around the next steps and being able to share out at further APAC office hours as well. With that, if you do have any questions in between now and our next office hours, feel free to use GitHub discussions to have the Semantic Kernel team get back to you. And want to thank everyone again.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.